This mock test is of a person whose dad has promised them a Mini Cooper if they can pass before the year 2024 starts. They just turned 17 a few weeks ago. They've only driven for about 10 hours. Now let's see if I can get them a test first of all before the year ends, and if I can get them ready for the test. Okay, now we started outside of the driving test centre in Loughton. This is where your first major fault happened. You got to the end of this giveaway and you turned right. There was a vehicle coming from your left and a vehicle coming from your right, and you kind of slowed both of them down. So as I told you before, you must not drastically slow another driver down. So be more patient. Just keep waiting until the road becomes more clear. See that car on the right, you've slowed down, and the car behind you, you slowed down. Next fault was a minor fault. You turned left here and you clipped the curb. So your back tyre just clipped the curb as you turn. You should have gone a bit more further forward before you started turning full lock. Now your next fault was a minor fault, came under hesitating. You're approaching a bend to the left. You've got a sign here, you've got markings on the floor telling you that's another road. So you should just follow the road to the left. You've paused here. This is hesitating. You can go, but you're not going. Okay, so it's a minor fault. Your next minor fault happened here at this mini roundabout. So the car coming from your right, this white colour car is signalling to turn this way, so you should wait for it like you did. Good. Next car's not signalling. You should be moving by now. You should be moving. There's a slight delay. You've let the car on your left come out. You might get a minor fault for hesitating there. Next fault, I think it's a serious fault. You're approaching a zebra crossing. There's a couple of people walking up to it. They get to it at the same time that you get to it. Now, most examiners that I've seen, they give a serious fault. They want you to stop. The highway code says you should stop when somebody's ready to cross. So they're ready to cross. In my opinion, they are ready to cross. You should be waiting for them. Okay. If you're lucky, you'll get away with it. If you get a nice examiner who might interpret it differently, saying that they're not exactly 100% ready, but I reckon they're there ready to cross. They're looking directly at you for you to stop, then they're going to walk, but you've gone. Right, now your next fault is a minor fault, and it comes under steering. When you went around this roundabout, you didn't notice the curb here. You've gone over this curb. It's a different color as well. You should notice that. You've gone directly over it. You've gone over the curb here. Okay, so I'll put that down as a minor fault because it didn't harm anyone, but you don't want to be doing that. You don't want to give the examiner something to think about. Okay, now your next fault happened at the roundabout. Okay, so you tried to go there and I had to stop you, okay, because the car coming from your right, it wasn't shielded by the car coming from the left for long enough, and if I let you go, the other car would have had to brake and stop. Okay, so that's a serious fault. It's a major fault, something you'd fail for. Okay, now your next fault was turning right here. You've turned right into the wrong side of the road. Okay, can you see you've gone directly into the wrong side of the road? This is not a good habit. Even though there's nothing coming out of that road, avoid going into the other side of the road over the giveaway markings. Your next serious fault came when doing the maneuver. We pulled up on the right and I asked you to reverse back for 2 car spaces. You started reversing without checking your blind spots. You've just looked in the right hand mirror, and that's all you looked at the whole time as you were going back. No other checks over your left shoulder or over your right shoulder. If something approached us, you wouldn't see it until the very last moment, and then there's a high chance you could hit them because they probably assume you're going to stop for them. So you must check before you start. You must check every few seconds because your last checks would be out of date. Your next fault happened down this road. It's a minor fault. You were just driving way too slow. There's no parked cars blocking your view. There's no pedestrians walking, so there's not much danger. The speed limit here is 30 miles an hour and you're doing about 15. You should easily be able to pick up to 30 here, or at least 25. Okay, for a long time down this road, you were doing way under the speed limit. Okay, so you'd get a minor fault for driving too slow here. Your next serious fault, major fault, happened here. You're driving down this road, it's 40 miles an hour, and you've picked up to 45, and you've driven at 45 for a good 10 seconds before I had to warn you to take your speed down again. So your next major fault happened here. The speed is going down to 30 miles an hour, and when the road went downhill, your speed went up to about 34 miles an hour for a good 5 seconds, which is way too long and way too fast for this road. So as it goes downhill here, I had to tell you to take your speed down below the speed limit. Okay, so you're going way too fast going downhill here when it's 30 miles an hour. Okay, now your next major fault happened here. You were turning left and you've hit the curb quite hard. Okay, now usually the examiners do let you off when you hit the curb, but because you made 2 other faults on the curb, this one will go down as a reoccurring fault. You've done it 3 times now.